highlands of the Mongolian Altai is a mixed property that includes two serial component parts, the Altai National Park and the Silhim Mountain National Park. Together, they represent an integrated cultural and natural landscape, going back at least to the Upper Paleolithic period. These component parts are located at the northwestern edge of Mongolia and mountainous heart of Eurasia, along the border with China and Russia. The property is bordered on the west by the Kanas National Nature Reserve in China's Xinjiang-Uyghur Autonomous Region, and on the north by the Yukok Quiet Zone that is part of Russia's World Heritage Site, the Golden Mountain of Altai. The highlands of the Mongolian Altai are marked by dramatic snow-capped peaks, great snowfields and glaciers, wild rivers and open river valleys, steppe grasslands, tundra meadows, and thick forests. The nominated property represents the most complete sequence of altitudinal vegetation zones ranging from steppe, forest steppe, and subalpine vegetation to alpine vegetation. The varied ecosystems of the highlands of the Mongolian Altai have supported the conservation of an extensive biodiversity, including endemic and endangered flora and fauna, dating back thousands of years. The properties would secure and expand the rare and endangered species existing in habitat areas. This is particularly the case with such endangered animals as the Altai Argal, the largest wild sheep on Earth, ibex, snow leopards, lynxes, and manor. It is a prime habitat for the most endangered animal, the snow leopard. It is also true of the eagles and falcons, threatened by the international interests in falconry. Several of these species have disappeared from much of their previous habitat in Central Asia and Siberia. The nominated cluster sites offer a virtual ecological island for their preservation. At the same time, archaeological and stone monuments here represent the outstanding expressions of the tangible and intangible cultural heritage of nomads, who have been living in the Altai Mountains and created a unique nomadic culture. Ethnic nomadic groups in today's High Altai live as did their ancestors for thousands of years, herding their animals and leaving their high summer pastures to return to lower elevations. In other parts of Mongolia, Central Asia, and Russia, these traditions have been markedly compromised by modernization and mechanization. Nomadic herding lifestyle, adapted to its natural geographical and climatic conditions, for centuries has preserved the traditional spiritual and economic culture of the ancient Altai people. The tenacity of these traditions is evident in the constantly renewed sacred sites, as well as in the many local celebrations of the National Naadam Festival, the celebration of the Lunar Month Festival of Mongolian ethnic people, and the Navroz New Year Festival of Kazakh people. Despite the ethnic diversity represented by this region's population, they all share certain traditional knowledge and practices, such as the communal preparation of wool through beating, communal felt making, the milking of mares, and the preparation of arak, the fermented mare's milk. Mountain herders still collect local plants for a wide range of medicinal purposes. More here than elsewhere in Central Asia, Kazakh herders continue to practice the art of eagle and falcon hunting. In 2011, UNESCO has inscribed traditional practices of the art of such hunting on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The ancient skills involved in domesticating and using Bactrian camels rather than trucks are also apparent throughout the properties. The people of the Altai have maintained many oral and performing art traditions, including ritual songs, so-called long songs, home, overtone or throat singing, and the making and playing of traditional instruments such as moringhor or horse-headed fiddle, torshor, tsor, and domber. The artistry involved in this instrumental tradition is notably evident in the chanting of eulogies relating to sacred Altai mountains and to the ancient heroic epics dating back in origin to the Bronze Age. The ubiquity of these instruments testifies also to the tenacity of an ancient craft tradition practiced by the herders themselves. This nomadic cultural landscape bears exceptional testimony to the nomadic pastoral land use and the animal husbandry practices of the Altai people. High Altai contains a rich overlay of cultures of many ethnic groups and nomadic empires. This is demonstrated by the monuments and cultural heritage sites left by people going back to the Paleolithic period through the Bronze Age, and by Scythians, Hunnu, Turkic, and Uyghur people, and the Mongols. Thus, these monuments and sites represent an outstanding example of cultural landscapes that illustrate significant stages of human history in Eurasia and the world. The three most outstanding rock art complexes within the nominated property area were inscribed in the World Heritage List. These and other rock art sites here are extremely rich in Bronze Age imagery. They are among the largest and least damaged petroglyphic concentrations in Asia. The Bronze Age people left behind a cultural web in the form of stone monuments, heavy burial mounds, huge standing stones at passes, great hiriksur and their associated altars, highly decorated deer stones, and human images known as stone men. This vast collection of stone monuments, centered now around the deer stone and hiriksur complex of Tsarangasak, reflects the unusual wealth of ancient cultural traces within the nominated property. The deer stone statues here and others demonstrate an extraordinary variety in the ornamentation, yet all refer to an ideal image type of a human wrapped in the stylized signs of a great antlered stag. These deer stones with great hiriksur represent an outstanding example of an animal art style of Bronze Age people in Eurasia and its evolution of a specifically North Asian sculptural and design tradition. There are many Scythian period symmetries throughout the nominated properties. They reflect the existence of a well-documented culture across High Altai that is usually referred to as Pazyryk culture. Burials in the highest elevations have sometimes been found in a frozen condition, in which the body of the dead and burial goods, reflective of their real lives, are well preserved. One important such burial was excavated by an international team in the nominated Silhim part of the property, in the valley of Olonguringol. The traditions of the early horse-riding nomads were continued by the Turks of the first millennium CE. Within the nominated properties, the cultures of the Turks and of their successors, the Uyghurs, are represented by the presence of more than 70 image stones commemorating ancient but anonymous warriors. While there are parallels and even similarities between the highlands of the Mongolian Altai and existing World Heritage properties in Central Asia and elsewhere, there are no other properties that combine the specific biogeographic values of the highlands of the Mongolian Altai with such particular cultural traditions and material remains found there. In these respects, the highlands of the Mongolian Altai is a joint property unique within the World Heritage List of inscribed and proposed properties.
Trava